A very good evening and a warm welcome to all our viewers to the Singhania School YouTube Live, a channel for the Salonians, of the Salonians, and by the Salonians. On behalf of the director and principal, Mrs. Revati Srinivasan, it is my great pleasure and honor to introduce our guest for today. I warmly welcome Mr. Sheetal Paknikar, who will be sharing with us some very interesting information about Design Your Future. So here we have Mr. Sheetal Paknikar, a media professional with 27 years of experience in area of communication design. He has worked with various industries like corporate communication to graphic design to films, media and sports consulting. Mr. Sheetal has designed logos for film Iqbal, apparel brand Belmont and two calendars for Reed and Taylor, just to name a few. He has even directed many ad films and documentaries for the international market. Mr. Sheetal began his career as an animator and has designed infographics for Times of India, India's first science fiction series Captain Vyom, and has been part of launching brands like Bombay Times, animation institutes like MAC, and B4U Television. He is currently a founder, MD, and CEO of 72010 Network, which specializes in media and sports consulting. So, without further ado, I welcome Mr. Sheetal Paknikar to join us. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, all. Good evening. Uh, I thank you for inviting me. It's um, it's great to be here, and we will be looking at some basics in design. And I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is safe at home. And can we just start the presentation? I will not get into further thing. We'll start the presentation. Okay, so children, I hope everybody will be attentive because then we can have the Q&A in the end. What I've done is I will try and explain to you as simply as possible the entire thing about design. It is very, very difficult to explain a lot of things in 30 minutes, but let's try and understand what is it in design that you could be interested in as a career. Okay. So next slide. Okay. So basically today we will be looking at what is design, why is design important, the scope of design in different fields, design thinking and problem solving. Then I will show you some work examples that we have done. And then last but not the least, because this is a design your future. So I thought it will help everyone that, how can one become an entrepreneur? So let's get into what is design, okay? I don't know how many of you who are online, how many of you actually have the popular understanding that design is drawing, okay? So is design drawing? So think about it. How many of us have actually searched through Google? How many of us have searched for terms like design or seen something on design thinking, seen videos on design thinking, okay? Today, there are so many videos. There are so many videos that explain everything on the planet. And I'm sure all of you all are absolutely, active on YouTube. And since we are studying from home now, and you will be watching a lot of videos on YouTube. So there is everything about design also on YouTube. Some students who are here today who probably are doing the mass communication, they may have heard of terms like design thinking. I don't know how many of you all have heard of UX and UI, mass communication, visual communication, computer graphics, animation, product design, and so on. So does design have a bit of everything? Does it have a bit of everything? Yes, it does. Design actually is a very broad term, so it's very difficult to, try and explain to you the full scope of design in 30 minutes. But it's a very broad term that if we understand that today it's a broad term, then if you want to choose anything in design, it will be much easier for you. Next slide. Okay, so let's get into a little bit on the ABC of design. Okay, there is something which we have coined, which I wanted to put it in the nice words for you. So let's make it like the ABC of design. Okay, so where the A is stands for awareness, A stands for aptitude, and A stands for attention. Okay, so firstly, let's be aware. It's very important to be aware and explore the broad understanding of the term. Okay, so obviously it's very difficult to explain in the limited time, but even if this session gives you an overview with some scope to identify a career, I think it will be worth the time that we are spending together. Okay. Secondly, you need to ask yourself if you have an aptitude for design. So like I'm sure that some students here who are studying mass communication, you have already given, you have given an aptitude test and you have seen whether you have an aptitude for communication, mass communication. So design, mass communication is also part of design. So for the others who have not given the aptitude, well, if you can give an aptitude test if design sounds interesting to you. Okay. And uh, thirdly, one of the main functions of design is to draw attention. Okay. So it's to draw attention or to address the lack of attention. So if somebody over here today in this presentation, which I'm making in these slides, if it gets too boring and if your attention starts wandering, then it's very important for me as a designer to be able to address the lack of your attention. Okay. So that's the one thing about attention. So awareness, aptitude, and attention is the A of the ABC of design. Okay, let's get on to the next slide. Once we come to B of the ABC of design, so what is the B? So it's basics, it's behavior, and something called bandwidth. Okay, so I'm sure that you have. I don't know whether you have heard of the term that we have to get our basics right. Okay, in whatever we do, it's important that we get our basics right. So design is also no different. Okay, so point is we have to spend time on first learning and then fine tuning the basics. So we have to learn the basics first, then fine tune them. Like you do in school, like you have a foundation in school and you learn all about the basic things, and then you start fine tuning as you go to the higher classes. So as you move from class to class, you start fine tuning whatever you have learned and you start adding on to it. So design is the same. Okay. Then the other B, which is the behavior, which is very important today in design. Very important is behavior. Like as human beings, since all of us have peculiar behavior, all of us have very different behavior. So this is related to how we react to things around us. Also, it is related to the way we behave with our fellow humans. And this is very, very important. It's very important if you want to design your future. Okay. Lastly, in this B of the design ABC, uh, today we frequently use a term. I don't again know how many of you all have heard of the term, but it's called bandwidth. Okay, so bandwidth is a term in design today that is an important one even for the future of design. The faster we understand this, it will enable us to use all the technological tools which are used in design effectively. Okay, that's called a bandwidth. So essentially, this is related to the speed of how fast the world is moving today. So we have to be in time with the way the world is moving. Okay, so that's the very, very relevant part of design. Okay, we'll go on to the next slide. Yes. So if you have seen the A, B and understood, so now we'll come to C, where C stands for creativity, customer centricity, and contextual. Okay. I'm sure everyone knows what is creativity. Um, what about customer centricity? Sounds like a big word, customer centricity. So now everyone knows that we can buy almost all the things online. I'm sure that people have been seeing people now in the work from home when we have to buy, we have to order online from Amazon. We are ordering things online. So all of us are customers of something or the other. We are customers. So customer centricity means that we have to study about the impact of design on the customer. Okay, so this is another scope. There's a scope for a design career in customer centricity as well. Okay. Lastly, there is a word called contextual. Sounds like a difficult word, contextual. It basically, for me, when I look at contextual and in the design, in design, it means it should be context driven. So where we can fit our term, this is where we can fit our term design thinking, which many people have heard of, many of the students have heard of. I will try and say that design thinking, or to put it very simply, it's problem solving. Okay, next slide. So yes, I hope till now I have been clear till now. You have understood the basics. You have understood what I'm trying to say, the ABC of design, and what is design. We covered two topics. Now, if we come here, the third one, which is a problem solver. So the designer is a problem solver. Now imagine that there is a chair or bench in class that causes a backache. Okay, then imagine the other scenario where, let's say, the fonts used on your mobile home screen are too small to be seen and you have to strain your eyes to see it. Okay, and more in the context of today, what is happening because of the COVID pandemic. Imagine, and we are experiencing that the masks we are all using are a nuisance. How some of them are not fitting properly, then we have to adjust them again and again. Some of us have a problem in breathing when we are using the masks. Okay, so the mask we are using, that's a third example. Now all these examples which are there are of, you can put them in the user experience design. It's called UX design. Okay, the second one, which is the fonts used on a mobile, that's also an example of user interface design. Okay, it's called UI. Some people call it, it's also known as graphic user interface. So it's basically the design of the mobile screen and all the apps that you use on your mobile phone. Okay, then we come to great examples of design that have solved problems. Because we are saying that the designer is a problem solver, so what are the examples? So what is the biggest example? I mean, you are a generation that is, you are the Google generation. So anything you need, you search on Google. Google was not there. Google was not there when we studied. Okay, we had to search, we had to open textbooks and go to the library and search. We didn't have everything on the internet. So Google is one of the big designs that have solved the search function. Okay, we can search anything online. Then there is connectivity. So in the past, we didn't have a mobile phone. Now today, mobile phone is very essential. So that's how it has, that's the connectivity part of it. Okay, then what's the app? We have a Google Maps to check the traffic. Imagine that in the past, we didn't know where we are going to go, how long will it take. Today we can just go on to Google Maps whenever we are going out somewhere for a drive, and we can check whether there is traffic on the road. So Google Maps helps in that. Okay, then we are making online payments, like I said, for bill payments. Then we are shopping online. So there are money transaction apps. And now obviously schools who were first on Zoom, and now we use the Google Classroom. So that's also a problem. So what is the problem currently? The problem is that we can't go to school. So we need to study from home. So how do we study from home? What is the solution? What was the problem? We can't go to school. What is the solution? Google Classroom. Okay. If we want to have a video chat, we have apps like Zoom and so many other apps. Okay. And of course, we have all our regular social media apps like WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all whatever you all are doing, TikTok, everything is there. And we all know what happens when they are only used for entertainment. So they are design apps, but we have to use them in a particular way. Okay, the idea is to first identify problems that we face and how we can be problem solvers. So I just want to say to everyone who is on the show, who's watching us live, that if you are interested in solving problems in society, if this kind of a thinking excites you, then design is for you. Okay, next. So yes, let's get to what is the canvas of design. I call it the canvas, and what all is there on the design canvas. Okay, now we can broadly divide design into print design, which is the newspapers, magazines, catalogs, everything. That's a print design that is printed. You have broadcast design, which is television, films, and animation. You have digital, or what is AI. I hope everybody knows that AI is artificial intelligence. And online, so where you have the UX UI, you have a new term called HCI, And of course, everybody knows about web design. I'm hoping that you know about web design. Okay. So let's get to the first one, which is broadly again, these three sections can be further, we can understand how they're used in different aspects. So one is communication design. In communication design, we have something called logo design. We have something called identity design. Logo design is like Dhwani introduced me when she said that I've designed the logo for Iqbal, the film Iqbal, the logo, which was the three stumps and the bales flying. So that was the logo that I designed for the film Iqbal. Okay. Then identity design. Identity design means that you can design a whole identity, like you can have if you're planning to have your own business tomorrow, you can design an identity for it. So you can design a logo for it. Then you have graphic design, advertising design, computer graphics, web design, broadcast design, VFX design, animation design, photography, videography, filmmaking. Everything comes under communication design. All these come under communication design. So there is so much scope for you. Okay. Then we get into next on the presentation is fashion design. So I'm sure everybody here is on Instagram, following film and sports celebrities and fashionistas. I think everybody knows what fashion design is about. Next is product design or industrial design. So like we discussed about the chair that causes a backache. So design of everyday products from mobile phones, lifestyle products, automobiles to furniture, everything, all this comes under product design or industrial design. Then we have interaction and instructional design. Again, this one is very important for today, very relevant for your future. So we get into the UX, UI, and the HCI. So please note that whoever is online here, if there is anybody in the Q&A who wants to, who can tell me, give me an example of one of these. If anybody wants to do that when we are having the Q&A, please do. Okay. Because I don't want this to be just I'm saying something, and so please note it down and you can ask me in the Q&A. Then there's interior design, which is about homes and office space. We can design our own homes. Okay, so I mean that would probably interest a lot of us. And then also you can make a note about, how about game design? How many of us play video games? I'm sure many of us play video games. So where does game design, that's also design. Where does game design fit in the above? In which section does it fit? Okay. What about exhibition design? Have you been to exhibitions? Who designs the exhibition? Very interesting area again. Okay. Where does that fit in? Does that fit in fashion design? Does exhibition fit in fashion design? Does it fit in product design? So just, if you can just think about it. Okay. Did you know that there is an entire field today? Basically, there is an entire field which is called the HCI. It's a human computer interface. So as more and more we start using machines, human beings are using machines, we're using computers. And there is a term called the Internet of Things today, IoT, which is very important in design. And I have not covered it today, but that's also a one very important term. We all know that the future is about constantly, I mean, everything is going to be in your hands. You have the power, you have the power of artificial intelligence, right? Yes, we can go on next slide. So yes, I think this has so far been, we have seen all whatever is, what does design cover, okay? Let's see some of our work. I can show you some examples of how we as a company, so I belong to a company called the 72010 Network, like you already know. So we can see some of the design that we have done. And I basically want everybody to understand that when we started the presentation, we spoke about awareness, the ABC of design. So we spoke about creating awareness. We spoke about understanding behavior, and we spoke about contextual, and that this has to be in context. Okay, so let's quickly go on to the next slide. So yes, now we have been in a lockdown. Everybody is experiencing the lockdown for the last 4 months, and we work for we have a corporate client. So Henkel is a German company. So we work for this company and we do a lot of internal communication campaigns. So she also mentioned that I am into corporate communication. So this is corporate communication where we are communicating to the employees. And this one addresses lessons from the lockdown. Okay, so lessons from the lockdown is something that we worked on, and we were trying to uh, communicate with the employees of this company how it is, what are the lessons. So we have learned a lesson to live every moment. Okay, so what is the lesson that we have learned? So it's basically to live every moment. We have learned a very beautiful thing. There are many of our parents who have been who go to work and come late, and the bonding at home happens over the weekends, and suddenly you have your mother and father at home, and it's time to bond at home. So bonding at home is one of the lessons. Okay, and basically we know that this pandemic has kind of evened out the world over. So it's not just we here in here in India and in Mumbai and wherever we are, but the world, it's happening in the world. So suddenly the world has come together. So it's like the pandemic has actually brought the world together. Okay, so we can make it all, we can all right now everybody is trying to work together and make it and try and address this problem. So it's a problem. So again, how is it related to us? Design is problem solving. So this COVID is one hell of a big problem. Okay, next. Then similarly, in this we have another aspect which is called my quarantine story. So while we are at home, so called, we are quarantining ourselves. So what are the things that we can do at home? So did you learn a new skill? Did you try writing a new poem? Did you read any new book? So remember, children, that this we have done for employees of this company who are working for this company. So we are trying to, the corporate communication department of the company is trying to communicate this to the employees, that did you learn a new skill? Did you write a new poem? Did you read any new book? Okay, so that's the idea. Next. Then one very fun. It may sound, oh my God, this is so boring. I mean, we are doing nothing exciting. So this suddenly you have something like a time check where we can do something funny, like in the morning. Just imagine that, there is you get a WhatsApp message with a another day to rise and shine. At 9:30 you have a reminder that it's 9:30 a.m. You have a reminder at 11:30 a.m. You have a woodpecker sound. So we can use sound creatively. Okay, or we can have 1 p.m. we can have a time check, which is, and so this is the fun that we can have with the employees by sending them messages, because they are working from home. So now we lose track. When we're working from home, the employees lose track, it's time to eat food. So we can just send them a reminder. Okay, so this is the time check idea. Okay, similarly 4 p.m. it's tea time, or 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. wash and fly homeward. So we are at home only. So, but we can end the work at 6 p.m. So we have to remind. So this is the time check that we can come up with. So it's a nice idea like this. Okay, next. Then we have something called my bucket list. So again, which is because I mentioned about we mentioned about behavior. So it's very important that we have a very broad the there is a feel good thing about design. So design enables you, should ideally enable all of us to be better human beings. So basically it comes down to, have you done your good deed for the day? So we are encouraging them to do a good deed for the day. Okay, so that's part of the my bucket list. So there is a girl who's sitting, and there is a uh, father and daughter. Okay, next. Then we have currently in the current context we have, let's this is about values. Okay, I hope everybody is aware, everybody knows about values. So we all are being brought up at home. You children are being brought up at home with values at home. So these similar values we have in offices. So we have a set of values that this client has given us. So what was the problem given to us? That in the current setup, when people are working from home, it's very important for us to remember our values. So again, we came up with an idea like this: let's bond together. Okay, then the true value. What is the true value? What are our goals? So basically this is all about, again, motivating all the people to be together in these tough times. Okay, next. So tough times test the best of us, keep innovating. So very simple messages. And children, if you can see, that when we started is design drawing. So there is a bit of drawing in this as well. There is illustration. So you have these illustrations which are a part of the drawing skill. So that will be one of the skills that you will need to have in design. So you need to be able to either draw using the computer tools or draw by hand. Okay, so this is one more campaign that we have done. Next. Okay, so for those of us students here online, everybody online who are sports fans. Okay, I don't know how many are football fans, and I don't know how many have heard about or how many had seen Croatia reach the finals of the 2018 World Cup. So we did a design for the Croatian captain Luka Modric. Okay, so if you can just click on that. So we did this design for him, where basically we were just for the interest of everyone, we as a company are trying to bring Luka Modric to India. Okay, we can bring him to India. So this is what we do. This is a design example for you that what is design. So you can just go down, sir. Yeah. So basically, we styled this like a pack of cards. Okay. Like he was the footballer. He was the world's number one football star in 2018, the year that they reached the final. He won the FIFA Player of the Year. He won so many awards. So we represented this by using an idea that it's a pack of aces. Okay. So this is the way we did the styling. The design all is done by. So then we have the backstory of Luka Modric. Okay. We will not get into details. You can just kind of go through. So see how the presentation is made. Okay. And it is basically to try and motivate people to invite Luka Modric to India. So we as a company, a communications design company, I am a professional who's worked for 27 years in, like I was introduced. So Luka Modric, if we bring him to India, and if people have to call him to India, then we have to make a presentation like this. Okay, next. Okay, the next one is a very interesting, again, very interesting one, which is, I don't know, again, how many of you all have heard, how many of you all know about a coffee table book? Okay. A coffee table book is a very interesting book where it's about, some nice subject, which you can do photography, you can give a lot of information. This is the book that we have designed for this client of ours. So you can just flip the book. So this is an actually book design, which is also part of communication design. Okay. So book design, for those of you who are interested, you can get it. You can become a book designer as well. So you can specialize in a book design also. So here you have to do everything from, you have to write about the, what is it about? Then you have to click photographs. Go ahead, sir. Yeah. So you can just quickly, so you can see this is a 50 pages book, which has a lot of photographs. So these photographs have been clicked by us. So photography is also part of design. Okay. So this is a nice way to basically, you can I mean, you have read storybooks, and so book design becomes very important, where we have images and we have text, all combining all of it together. Okay. So this is one very interesting thing for any of you all who are interested, can actually go ahead and explore how to design books. Okay. Yes, sir. So we will go on to the next one, which is, let's see, now we have heard a lot. So let me take a break from the monologue, and we can just run a 1-minute video where there will be audio and there'll be music. You can have a look. This is a video made for one of our clients. Okay. Okay, children. So let's get into the last slide. I think there's only 1-2 slides left. Quickly, we'll get onto it. And then we can take the Q&A. Okay. So let's kind of conclude about entrepreneurship. This is something which again I can take question and answers. So it design a good career option. Yes, it is, but it is like any other career. Okay, so you have to first test your aptitude, then you have to get some formal training, and spend a lot of time to study, and then it's very simple. It's very simple. You have to work very hard. Okay, nothing. There are no shortcuts. So if you have the passion and you have enough on your plate, you can earn decently also, and you can be a very useful designer in society. Okay, which is the best paying design field? This is a question again which you may have in your mind. So if you're planning to choose design to make money, you may never get enough. So money is never enough anyways, we all know. On the other hand, if you want to make work, you want to work and make some difference to society, identify and solve problems that are a challenge, then it'll pay you in satisfaction. Remember, it'll pay you in kind. Okay, so that's the paying part of design. Can anyone become an entrepreneur? Yes, again, it depends on what life you want to lead. Okay, if you want to be responsible, if you want to be self-sufficient, basically be independent, you want to be a leader. I think how many of us how many of us aspire to be leaders? I mean, we would love to be a captain, captain of a team. So who gets people together to work towards a common goal or a better future. And anyone can be an entrepreneur. Basically, an entrepreneur is being a leader. Okay. And then next slide. So what are some easy examples of being on your own? Again, very, very important for children, all of you all to understand. You can be a graphic designer, you can make videos and films, you can write and design content for e-learning. I don't know if you have heard of e-learning. You can design your own social media channels. You can have your own social media channel, which you already have, I'm sure. You can spread awareness and good thoughts so that you can be a reliable and credible influencer. Many people here want to be YouTubers or want to be influencers. Okay, you can do that, but remember that if it benefits society, it will be great. What is the future of design? So how many of you have heard today that it's it's very important actually to design your future. The reason why I decided to speak about design your future is to understand that in the world today, there is lots of people are losing their jobs. There's unemployment. There's something called an economic slowdown, which if you keep hearing your parents speak about it, or if you have discussed also among friends. So remember that the future is being sensitive. It's when you are a designer, when you're a designer, you're sensitive. Okay, you're sensitive to environment and the people around you. It's about designing and thinking responsibly and ensuring that we must all work together to create a better life. Lastly, if you want to make money through design, remember one thing, that whoever, if it is, since everybody is interested in what am I going to do tomorrow, how I'm going to live my life, how much money am I going to earn, how am I going to be comfortable. So remember that when you are charging, when you're a designer and working, and you are doing some design for somebody, they're going to pay you money for it. Okay, remember that they're going to pay you money for it, and they have to recover their money, so they have to make twice of what they pay you. So if you get this right in the beginning itself, as an entrepreneur, you will do very well, because that's the basic of being on your own. Okay, and it's a basic about anybody paying you for your design. Okay, children. So thank you, everyone. I've come to the end of the presentation. We can take the Q&A, and whatever points I have said, if anybody wants to um, ask on that, or tell me where do those things fit in this, it's okay. Okay. So there are questions here there are questions here. So interesting. How many years of experience is required for starting our advertising agency? Very interesting. Which type of design has more scope in the future or can earn more profit? Is solely depending on designing profitable, or one should have only scope? Okay, I can see questions coming in. Okay, so let me let me address how many years of experience is required for starting our own advertising agency. Um, there's no what you call rule that says that you have to have so many years experience. You first of all you have to know what is it that is required to start an advertising agency. If you have maybe even like somebody with a 2-3 years experience can also start their own advertising agency. Okay, so 2-3 years experience is good enough to start a small agency with 2 people. I don't know if you're planning to make it big. The more you work, the more you experience, the better can make a bigger you can make a bigger organization. Then the second question has to do with which type of design has more scope in the future. So which type of design has more scope in the future? So basically, right now, since my presentation was about a whole lot of what will work in the future, uh, we have what is user experience design. User experience design is a field that is going to be needed. Uh, we have videos, filmmaking and videos. That's also part of design. Okay, today just imagine that you are all of us are we have such short attention spans. We are scrolling down. So what's the scope? So you have to design content, you have to design videos that catch your attention for a minute, so even a minute. So that is a good scope in the future. It's videos are it will continue. We have to make it more engaging. Okay, then somebody is asking about one question about uh, more profit. That's money related. So uh, like I said, uh, there's no such thing as more profit. Okay, you make profit and then you want more profit. So that's the answer to the question. We can take the next set of questions. um, the next set of questions from anybody. um, okay, then what are some major challenges faced by designers and one could overcome? Okay, interesting question, very interesting. What are some major challenges faced? um, Challenges faced can vary from one very simple example. Imagine that you are designing just a simple visiting card for your mother, okay, or your father. So what is the challenge? The challenge is that your father and mother, they are doing some work and you are designing the card for them, and you think that it will look nice using a pink color. And the challenge could be that your mother doesn't like the color pink. So it could be some challenges as simple as that. These are the challenges even we face even today. Like some people don't like certain colors, some people don't like certain fonts. So these are very small little challenges. Then there are big challenges also. Big challenges that we have to address. We have to first understand what to communicate. So it's very important to be patient, to understand first what is the requirement. Since design is about communication, so you have to first understand what the other person wants. So that is a challenge faced by the designer. Um, you have to also be able to say that, okay, fine, this is what will work or what could work for you. So then you have to make those options. So the challenge is in making those options. Okay. So a range of challenges comes in. They can be everything from, when you're writing a script for a video, for example, the challenge is how does one hold the interest? Like I said about attention, to draw attention, to retain attention. So that's also a challenge. So these are all the challenges. Okay. I hope the question has been answered. Um, UX and UI designs require coding knowledge. Yes, you have to. Yeah. So design. So I did not touch upon this. So there is a certain bit of coding that you need to learn. Yes, it's always better. There are two kinds of, basically there is a what we call in this space as a front end and a back end. Okay, there is a front end and back end. Remember, children, front end is the visual design. the visual design. The back end is the coding. So in order to create the user experience, you have to have a good interface, a graphic user interface, which is called a front end. And then there's a back end, which does require coding knowledge. Okay. So that I hope that kind of gives you the answer to your that question, whoever has asked. That is, sorry, Dhwan, it is, I think, the next one I will take is, what is your take on the future in game designing? Oh my God. Okay. Game designing is there, it's existing, it's a big future. Everybody wants to play games. So it's a great field. Game design is a brilliant field. But believe it or not, it's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult because you have to be well-rounded in terms of your knowledge. So it seems that when you play a game, it seems so interesting and engaging and it keeps you glued onto that. But a designer has to spend days and nights trying to figure out exactly how to create the levels. Let's take an example. There are levels in the game, in a game design. So imagine the team that is working in game design. So there are artists, there are digital artists who are doing there are 3D artists, there are coders. It requires heavy coding. Then imagine that in today's day and age, you want to play it on your mobile phone. So it has to, and the visuals have to be great. The speed has to be fast. You have online games as well. So huge industry again. You can play like in different parts of the world. You can sit and play a game online. So that's, I'm sure that some of you have been in that field, and it's absolutely, to answer your question, what is my take on future in game designing? Yes, game designs will be used, absolutely used, and yes, future it could be also used for communicating a lot of maybe it could be used in instructions also, how to follow certain instructions. It could be used very creatively as well. So that's on game designing. The next uh, question is about interior design. Okay. What are the courses one should take up for pursuing interior design? So yes, interior design, again thanks to Google. And if you ask me today, everything is, it's uh, what's the point? I mean, I'm going to tell you the same thing that's there online. Okay. So interior design, there are custom courses, there are good courses. You can check up on the net and you will get a whole lot of information on which ones are good. How does one judge whether they are good? Broadly, many of them address, I mean, see, at the end of the day, it's all the same, whether we are doing it from one place or the other. uh, how does one choose between from a course to course? Is just see what is the course structure. And interior design means that yes, you have to again know the design basics. So see how much they are teaching you in the basics of interiors, and it should be it should be one that uh, keeps you interested. So um, beyond that, I think they're more or less the same. I don't have a preference. Okay. Then coming to if one wishes to have a designing career in the film industry, oh my God. Okay. Costume, set, character, how secure is it considering the need for contacts? And oh my God, favoritism in the film industry. Oh my God. Okay. So I've worked in the, all of you children, I have worked in the film industry, and I don't want to discuss too much about this, but yes, uh, you can have a designing career in the industry. It is a very good career. Nothing is a bad career. It's a very good career. You should know uh, how do you fit in. Okay, one thing very important to understand is, do not look at if you're a designer, remember that you will be given a problem to solve. Okay, it's less glamour and it's more harder. It's more thinking. So remember that even if you're working in the film industry, you will be given a task to do, which you have to solve that. So in costume, yes, good field. Costume design is a great field. I mean, you have so many period films, brilliant to create historicals. You know, how does one create the costumes for Devdas? And we have seen all these big films. So yes, costume design is a good career. Set design. You make those big sets, and you know, again, that's part of. You will have a little bit of interior there. You will have a little bit of architecture. Character, yes, character design is also part of, yes. How secure children don't worry about security. Security is depends on how passionate you are, because remember that whatever you do, you will face a, a security which is sometimes you will do well, sometimes you will not do well, so it's okay. You have to be able to uh, keep believing and keep the passion. You can't give up. Okay. And contacts. What's the need of contacts? Yeah, you can make your own contacts. If you have contacts, brilliant. But there's nothing that stops. I mean, you have lots of examples in the film industry. People who have created their own contacts. I mean, I don't have any background in the film industry, and I created my own contacts. So I was just lucky to get into it. They gave me a place, and I created my own contacts. So don't worry, you can create your own contacts. Okay. Next is it intellectual to stick to one type of designing before we enter our undergrad program? How can one enhance designing skills? Okay, so one thing is that doer. You have to be a doer. Okay, anything to do with any field. Honestly, it's not just design, but remember that you have to do. So today you have absolute so much information available to you. Please use the information and get to sit and, okay, supposing you have your computer at home, you have a PowerPoint, or you have any software tools at home which has very basic PowerPoint, basic tools in of design. Please, you can build your skills. You can learn on your own. There are YouTube videos. There are how to use the software videos. Everything is there. You just have to sit, and you have to be a doer. You can't just sit and think, how can I do this? How can I do this? Sit and do it and see. Those of you who have the hang of it, who have the aptitude, will start enjoying it. Okay, so just go ahead and do it. And is it important what type of designing before we enter undergraduate? Don't worry, before you enter any program, just get your thinking right. Just understand the field, and don't worry, you will be able to do anything in design about whatever interests you. Okay. Product design is a continuous process in the technology fields. How much should one be aware of the pulse of the consumer? Oh my God, that's a very smart questions, very interesting questions. I wish I had more time, but how much should one be aware of the pulse of the consumer? Also, is consumer design product driven, or is consumer design product driven? Um, Again, yes and no. The consumer is I mean, like I said, we are all customers and consumers, and we consume so many things. So if we are designing products, remember that yes, you are designing for somebody to use. So the consumer is going to use your product. So is it customer centricity? It's consumer. The consumers have to be comfortable using your product. So yes, you have to think the pulse of, somebody said pulse, right? Pulse of the consumer. Yes, it's very important to understand. Please look, be observant. Remember that designers are very observant people. It's okay. You can just keep your eyes and ears open, keep your mind open, look around, look what's happening, think what will be needed in the future. Okay. Um, Next question is, sir, should designing be done through an art school? Yes, you can definitely do designing through an art school. Art school will always help you. Normal college, today there are colleges offering, and the education, now we know that some part of our system is going to change, so you can probably choose some part of design in the earlier grades as well. It's going to happen. So normal college, you can see, where there is currently in the current setup. Yes, there are certain colleges offering design. There are specialist colleges offering design, but don't worry. Later on, in the next few years, we will have some design in schools as well. Okay. What are the courses and exams needed to pursue designing? So there is, in design, after the 12th grade, you have the common entrance, like you have the common entrance test. There is a UCED, which is for the undergrad. It's called UCED. Then there is for the later on after you do your design graduation. Then there are other exams like the common entrance exam for design. So yes, there are design. Don't again everything is there. Just whatever query you have, quietly note it down, and if you want to know, it's available there online. It's available. You just have to know where to search. Okay. As a young entrepreneur, how does social media help promote and enhance business better? Very important. Very important. Okay. Social media. I don't know whether it was I maybe I skipped it. Social media very important for an entrepreneur, young entrepreneur. Use social media with responsibility. So social media is not only to say how I'm better than the others. It is not about to say that how I'm doing this, I'm doing. Social media is to be used in a particular way to say that what are your services. You can say that this is what we do, but it should not be ideally at the cost of. Social media is not about saying what you can do better than the others. It's say what all can you do, and how can we make a difference. Okay, that should be. As a young entrepreneur, how does social media help promote and enhance a business? So it can enhance your business. Make sure that it's you do it with responsibility. Okay. How much does competition affect product design? Okay, competition affects everything. So, and yet competition, if you are afraid of competition, or if you are going to be thinking about competition, then you will forget what to do. So it's only competition is only to be seen. Acha, has somebody done it like this? Okay, maybe I can do it like this. So that's where the competition will help you all. Okay, so otherwise, how does it affect product design? Remember also, one very important thing is competition does help. It should help create increase the quality of the product. So at the end of the day, as users, we need to have good quality products. So competition should be healthy enough to make better products. That probably answers that question. If there are any more set of questions, I think I've been very fast to answer the questions. I hope is um, everybody is understanding what I'm saying. Um, Otherwise it will be funny. So um, anything else? Yes. Okay. Is elementary and intermediate exam required? Better. It's good. It's always helpful. Not compulsory. Not compulsory. Any exam, anything to do with drawing. Yes, we started with is design drawing. Yes, it's drawing as well. I also wanted to say that design is it an art or is it a science? Just think about it. Is design an art? Is it science? Design is about communication. Okay. So anyway, so uh, there's a question which says which college is the best for graphic designing? My God, I'm not going to get into. I'm not going to say which colleges are best for graphic designing. Uh, uh, there are big design schools, famous design schools from um, the National Institute of Design to I don't want to get into, but so many of them are there. Okay, uh, a person is also a brand. What are the different ways in which we can place ourselves in the right space? Very, 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 very interesting. Very interesting. I wish I had time. Okay, a person is also a brand. What are the different ways in which we can place ourselves in the right space? Children, students, whoever is online. Yes, each one of us is a brand, and we have to be able to present ourselves the way we are. So it's very important to understand what we are before we present who we are, and that's what makes a good brand. The brand understands that this is my strength. Remember, it's not just, I mean, nobody is perfect, so we have our strengths and we have our weaknesses as well. So it's important, if you want to create a personal brand uh, and place yourself in the right space, um, first of all, do a study of who you are and what is your brand. Okay, so I think that answers most of the questions. I hope I have been simple and tried to be simple, because after working for so many years to speak to children like you, is very difficult. I have to be very careful because I'm used to making, I'm used to making presentations to grown-ups where there are different questions. Oh my God, there's another one. How to design our goals in life with considering future. How to design our goals in life considering future. Keep very simple, make it very simple. Don't complicate your life. Keep life goals very simple, that you want to do something good. And remember, if you want to get into design, design is not, it's not glamour, it's not design is hard work. Design is, you have to be very sincere. The more sincere you are, you will be able to do well. And life goals should be set that, okay, let's see, I want to explore, I want to experiment, I want to see how I can be useful. So utility, usefulness. Okay, I think that's the last question. Okay, is it 6 o'clock? Is my time over? I think it's 3 minutes left to 6. I am very happy. Thank you to the Singania School. Thank you all of y'all for listening to me patiently. I hope everybody had a good time. I hope I've answered the questions. And I think I should hand it over now to the coordinator um, if my time is over. Thank you, everyone, once again. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an enlightening session. It was truly interesting to learn about how design thinking is the toolkit for innovation, and I'm sure that through today's session, you have already inspired many students like myself to explore this aspect. Design thinking is an absolute and necessary prerequisite in today's world, and I'm glad that our viewers have been able to acquire and understand what design thinking exactly is and how it helps us to innovate products and services which satisfy our real want. On that note, once again, sir, thank you so much for being on this platform. It was truly an informative session and all. Do join us next week as we will be back with yet another exciting session where we will have Commander Kankan talk to us about scaling the Everest on the Singhana YouTube Live platform, which is a platform of the Salonians, by the Salonians, and for the Salonians. Do like and subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you keep getting notifications whenever we go live. Thank you everyone and have a wonderful evening ahead.
Thank you.